Good morning. Hey, it's Friday, TGIF. Doesn't make a bit of difference to me. Anyway, it will be the weekend. It should be a long weekend for some of you workers. The holiday being Sunday and therefore Monday, the official holiday. We have to remember that we won't get mail. That's the only thing we have to remember. The weather is glorious. It is a lovely 68 degrees. No real bright sunshine, intermittent sunshine, and yeah, thank you. I'm so glad that heat broke. So glad that heat broke. So, this is my regular time to stream. I'm sorry. I know Tantel is streaming, but that's all right. There's a lot of Tour de Fleece people streaming right now at different times, and we can always catch them on the VODs. So if you want to watch Tantel, that's fine. Catch me later on a VOD. The one thing I want to talk about is the muting in the recent streams. It happened to me again yesterday, and yesterday had two parts because I got a Twitch intermittent outage, right? Just a blurb that knocked everybody else out but kept me going pretty much. But I still have two streams for yesterday. And on the second one, right smack in the middle, I have a song that's muted. Now, I will say that it will happen now and then with Pretzel, but I thought the YouTube would be better, and I had a muting the other day, and so I was using Pretzel then, and so I thought, well, I'll try YouTube, and it's the same thing, okay? So just if you're watching the VOD, which is the only time it's going to affect it, right? If you watch live, you don't get muted, right? It's only on the VODs. So if you're watching the video on demand later and you hit a muted spot, if I'm just, which is so frustrating. I mean, yeah, you can watch it, but I think that's very irritating. Just skip forward. I'm probably not saying anything important anyway. And I'm always streaming pretty much the same thing during the stream. I did change towards the end of that stream from my Roberta to my Nano. So, it's not that big a deal. I'm not teaching on these streams. I'm just, if I talk about something in particular that you might find interesting about the fiber or whatever, or I'm answering a question maybe in the chat, you might miss that. I can't even apologize for it. I have absolutely no control over it. And I find it irritating, and I'm just making that known to whoever's listening. Anyway, hopefully it won't happen again. I have Pretzel going again, so we'll see. And I am going to be spinning a new fiber today, so I'm very excited. Even though I've been spinning the same type of fiber, the CVM, this is a different fleece. It's a different source. It was a different processing, except for the fact that I made carded bats. And I have lots more of this. This should be the bulk of my sweater spin. Before I get to that, though, I want to show you what I got done from the light gray and my yardage. I have this is the first skein. I actually skeined off the second skein first, but this is the first skein. And I have it on the Nitty Notty. I'm going to leave it on there until I need the Nitty Notty the next time. And I do that because what happened? I just got here. Nothing happened except I had a rant about getting muted in my stream yesterday. So you just missed the rant. That's all. Good to see you. Now we're going to talk about the good stuff anyway. This is the light gray CVM that I have been spinning. I have yardage. I have skeins to show you. So this is the first one, and it is 2-ply. It is about 196 yards. Everybody knows that Yardage can change when it's stretched on a nitty knotty, but that's the number of wraps. I keep hitting the mic. I am so sorry. I keep hitting the mic. In other words, this is a 2 yard nitty knotty, and I had 98 wraps. I could not get 100 wraps to get 200 yards in this skein, but we're close. We're very close to 200 yards. So that's 196 yards. And then my second skein, which has several joins in it, because what happened was I had one bobbin had a lot and another bobbin had not very much. So at one point, and I should have gone a little bit longer so I'd had my 200 yards, but at one point I just said, okay, that's enough plying based on what the plying bobbin looked like. I'm going to stop. And that was that skein I just showed you. Then I had a bobbin with a lot and a bobbin with a little. So I did what I usually do. I took the bobbin with a little, put it back on my wheel, and very, very, very quickly ran in what I thought would be more equal. I even weighed the bobbins, and I still came out unequal. I ended up with still way more on the one bobbin than the other bobbin. So I just took the bobbin with the plying off, put that little bit back onto the wheel, ran some more in again. So for that reason, this skein has joins in it. It doesn't bother me when I'm knitting with it. I don't care. I don't care. Anyway, this is the second one, and it has 102 yards. There were 51 wraps on the 2 yard thing. I love the variation in the light gray. I just love it. It's squishy. It's very, very squishy. It is between 10 and 11 wraps per inch for both of the skeins, which I was going to look that up. I need a reminder on if that's Aran or worsted. Let's see. Let me get my Google up here. I could probably do this on my iPad, but oh, I should probably said yarn gauge. Let's see if this gives it to me. Yeah, here we go. Okay, according to this, 9 to 12 is worsted Aran weight. Okay. I call it Aran weight just because worsted is so confusing about how it's spun or that sort of thing. So the 9 to 12 is a broad range for Aran, and that's where it falls in, and that's exactly where I wanted it because I'm making a sweater. And if you go above that, 12 to 15 is DK, and if you go below that, 6 to 9 is what they call bulky. So I was spot on with how I wanted it to spin. So yeah, it does look nice. Thank you. I like it. So now I'm going to start another CVM color. Want to spin it the same way, right? So hopefully that will work. I'm using the same prep. It's carded. I'm using the same spinning wheel. I will use the same type of drafting, which was a semi-long draw and woolen spin, which means the twist runs all the way back to your fiber supply. So let's get going. Oh, wrong one. You already saw that. No, actually, you missed it. So this is the bat, and just to give you a little bit of idea, that's the difference in the colors. It's subtle, but this fleece is from another bat. I mean, this bat is from another fleece, and so it's definitely a different amount of the grays and browns compared to this one here. And I can show you because I have it, what it looked like before I drum carded it. This is a real good example of the different colors. I have it in the camera here. So part of the fleece has this white with maybe a little bit of yellow tan sort of color, and then part of it has this definite dirty, what I call dirty gray, but with these tips, and these tips are sun bleached. They're not dirty or anything, they're sun bleached, and that's where you get the gray going into some of the tan. And then of course this adds a lightness to it when you blend them together. Some people try to spin these separately, and same way with Jacob, but I thought, since I'm doing a sweater, I was perfectly happy. In other words, this is kind of what it looks like blended, picked open and blended before it went in the drum carder. Oh, Blueface Leicester is my favorite. I love that. It really is. I love that flavor. And when, yes, it was very distinct, and this is what it looks like when it's drum carded. This is how it really truly blends everything when you drum card it. Or hand card. But, you know, I'm working with my drum carder right now because I have a lot of this. I have, each of these bats are probably just a little over an ounce. It varies. I measured it in grams when I was doing it and keeping records because of Stash Dash. And so anyway, this, I have 14 of these? 15. I have 15 bats of this. So I'm going to get just, I'm not going to get a pound of these, but close. And I really need, for a sweater, I really need about 1,500 yards. If I get 200 yards, let's go down to 1,400. Let's say I need 7 total skeins, or let's go bigger. Let's say I need 8 200-yard skeins for the 1,600. Let's go bigger. And I have 2. I need to get 6 200-yard skeins out of this 15 bats. It sounds doable to me, okay? I used 6 bats. I used 6 bats for the 2 skeins. One was 196 and the other was 102 yards. Just shy of 300 yards. And I'm wanting 1,600. I'm having to do math here. Is actually only like 6 more bats. Only like 6 more skeins. I think it's doable. I really do. I think I'm gonna get my enough yarn to make a sweater. I might have to do 3/4 length sleeves. That's where I'll cut if I have to cut. So, and I'll be real honest with you. This is my very first time to actively try to spin for a sweater. I have spun fleeces before and not really paid attention to getting a specific wraps per inch or whatever from it. I've not yet really knit a large amount of hand spun into a sweater. I've knit a lot of little things, but not the actual sweater. So I'm real excited about it, really. So the hardest part is I have been spinning a Rambouillet and it's spinning very thin. And so I got to get my fingers and fiber supply here going so that I am not making it too thin, or I won't get it to match the Aran weight. That looks right though. If I remember right, I was spinning around 22 with this. Yeah. Yeah, it's looking good. I'm not gonna, it's gonna spin that way. Okay. I need to do something different here. I don't have this threaded right. Look at that. I missed a, I wonder how that works. It worked, but I am missing my thing that makes it go up and down the bobbin. There we go. I'm surprised that spun. Okay, let's put it back here where it belongs and get it off of here. It's morning. It's morning. It's too early. I'm not awake. All right. So, Sock Wizard, do you have 4th of July plans? Will you try and see fireworks? Or go for any kind of fun picnic or something? Right now, we don't have any plans, but I haven't actually talked to my daughter to see what she's doing if she wants to come out doing fireworks. I gotta give her a call today. Alright, unfortunately I am getting the shortcuts in there. It's almost unavoidable when I have a raw fleece that I home process unless I comb. And I think I need to draft this out some. All of this is like, okay, new fiber. Let's figure out how to make it behave. Yeah, that's gonna make it better. And the dust and little bits of stuff is falling out. It's gonna be all over my lap, but these are my spinning pants. I don't care. Staying home again today, not going out. You're gonna have a cookout. Yeah. Yay. Hubby's gonna cook grilled pork chops tonight. But we haven't made a specific plan for Monday. We are supposed to actually get rain on the Monday. We might not, but it's better to go ahead and do our fun stuff before Monday. Alright, I'm quite excited. This fiber is washed better than the light gray was. So, there's no lanolin on it. No hand manicure today. I won't get lanolin on my hands. This is going to be my spin for today. I may do a tad bit of plying of Rambouillet, but it's not a big thing, so it won't take too long. And a little bit of posting on the internet, and then after that I'm going to take a break until tomorrow. Do a little house cleaning and spend time with hubby tonight and that kind of thing. So getting it done and out of the way today. I watched 2 complete recordings of day 2 and 3 yesterday of the Tour de Fleece. Tour de Fleece. Yeah, let's have it on streams. No, of the Tour de France. And did my plying of all that light gray. So that was good to get that done, and we'll get those watched. They're having a hard time getting started without sending everybody to the hospital. My goodness, it's been kind of rough on the tours, on the routes. I know, so many crashes. Oh. I seem to remember that from last year. Oh my gosh, they ride so close together. I think some of those riders, even the really good ones, don't get to practice that big of a group to ride with. You may have a team, but they are packed on narrow roads and riding so close together. I'm not surprised. I really am not surprised. Yeah, the sighting wins. I Day 3 when McEwen and Peter Sagan went down, right, inches away from the finish line. Oh my gosh. I yelled so loud. My hubby was outside on the porch and he heard me. He says, "What's going on?" I mean, I was just like, oh, I just yelled, "Oh no." That I know. The courses have been somewhat technical. Yeah, I agree. For the beginning. I was used to, like, day 2 would be the time trial, and they just sort of got into it a little more gradual, it seems like. But I suppose, like any of the sports, the participants are getting better, especially the repeat participants that's been in it. You don't want the same person. It's kind of like the football teams trade players around. You don't want one team winning all the time, and by trading players around, everybody has more of an equal chance to win. And I think it's sort of that way, is they get the courses so that there's more equal chance and you don't have the same winner over and over. I forget who it was. I have a memory lapse at the moment. I talked to my mom about it, and she says, "Is so-and-so still riding?" I mean, it's somebody back from the 80s, probably. Yeah, I knew who she meant because he won over and over and over. Gosh, I can't remember who that was. But anyway, I said no. He was so close, and he was sprinting so hard, and then he broke his collarbone and had to leave the race. Oh. Hello. Good morning, Dan. I hope your weather has turned cooler because ours did. I know yesterday you were still very, very warm, and now here it is just delightful. So I am doing good. How are you? Thank you for joining me. Sock Wizard and I have been talking about the actual race, the actual Tour de France race, because I was watching some of the. I record it. I don't watch it live. Um, I like to zip by the commercials and watch it when I want to, not when it's on. So I was watching a couple recordings yesterday. Lance Armstrong, thank you. That was who my mother said. Because I knew the name, as soon as she said it. Yeah. Late 90s and early 2000s. Okay, that's who she says, is Lance Armstrong still riding? I said, no, I haven't heard that name for a while. I didn't get a good join. Having trouble getting this to go as thick as I want here, because I'm having trouble getting the woolen going. There we go, the woolen spun. I have 15 bats to spin. I've been putting 2 per bobbin, and that doesn't work out the right. So I'll have to, I guess the last bobbin I'll split a bat. It, like I was saying earlier when I was skating off the light grade, it doesn't come out even anyway, no matter what I do. I always have to finagle to get it all plied by putting some on another bobbin or whatever. I am really getting a lot of pull in. This is as loose as it can go. I don't know if I want to go down one or not. Let me see. Oops. Not cooler yet? Oh dear. Well, whatever cold front we got must have come down in the middle of Canada and down that way to hit us. The oldest rider in the pro peloton, yeah, is Valverde at 41. Not sure. Alejandro. I'm sure Google knows. The one that I keep seeing year after year and wonder how old is the guy that's always in the front. They call him the tractor. He's the pace setter. He's been there for as much as I remember watching the race. I don't remember what his name is either. And of course, they're looking for the person that caused that crash the first day. They're actually going to sue her if they find her. God, can you imagine living with that? Ugh. Oh, they found her? I hadn't heard that. Oh, see, okay. See, I'm behind in watching. I am behind in watching. I forget that I'm not watching current. So, as of the third day, they hadn't found her. How's this looking? Not too bad. Not too bad. It looks light on with the camera light on it. It looks lighter than it is. It's actually darker. Suck Wizard says, my partner said they dropped the charges. Oh, because it got blown out of proportion. Huh. You really think it got blown out of proportion? Of course, the media did hype it terribly. So maybe that's what it was. Dan says, already 79 degrees Fahrenheit, feels like 86, and it's 8:30 a.m. Oh, goodness gracious. Well, that's what we had, for the last week or more. And that's exactly the way it was, but we must have a more active weather system bouncing around us to bring that cold front down. I'm thinking our weather, when it comes south. I mean, it comes from the south and travels northeast from, maybe the Gulf, definitely the Gulf, but maybe follows the Mississippi River up, and that's what is a different weather pattern than the Midwest, than the where you are and the West Coast and all of that. Thomas DeGent sounds right. Let me think. Sock Wizard said, I'm trying to think who I've seen doing a lot of Peloton pacing. Maybe Tony Martin or Thomas DeGent. I think, and Dan says, I think Lance Armstrong got told he could ride in the. He couldn't? He couldn't ride in the tour anymore by the organizers. Yeah, there were a lot of doping allegations, is what Sock Wizard says, and that's what I heard. He tried to make a comeback, but it didn't work up. It didn't work out. And Dan says, yeah, you heard that too. Here, I'm going to Google real quick. See what it says. It's funny, I hear their names over and over and over, right? Tim DeClercq. That's who it is. Oops. Now I could Google and see how old he is and all that, but that's who I'm talking about. He's just so recognizable and always in the front. And I think it's, I'm not sure what team he's on, if it's DeKunik or what, but I find it very hard to keep track of all the teams and don't. Uh, I'm more interested in actual riders than the teams. So hopefully I get to watch day 4. Maybe even another one. It depends how quick I clean my house. I mean, I may give it a lick and a promise, right? He's only 32. Okay. DeKunik, quick step. Yeah. Okay. Come on. There we go. Oh, this is spinning nice. Not as nice as the Ramble A, but not bad. I have that white Ramble A I spun on the other stream yesterday. It is so nice for a fleece, for the home processed fleece. It has some short stuff in it, but it's a lot better than this has been. So let's see, I have 15 bats. It's going to be real easy if I spend 2 a day to get them done. I really should do that because I have the 2 challenge days. I have a different project. I'm not going to just spin this kind of stuff. I have a more challenging project, and so those will be done. And the 2 rest days, I really am going to try and do the rest days. So that takes 4 days away, and we've got Only 15 days, so 10 days to spend 15 bats. Yep. 2 a day. I've gotten smart and written down the empty bobbin weight of everything, of these bobbins. I haven't taped it onto the bobbin, but I got it. I know based on the leader which ones they are. What are we chatting about here? Sock Wizard says, our oldest rider in the Tour de France is Valverde at 41. There you go. And we have 3 38-year-olds, Gilbert, Greipel, okay, Greipel, and Lemonon. I don't know him. Lemonon got caught up in a crash on day 1 and had to abandon. Oh, he's the one that abandoned from that one of the crashes. I knew one had. Lance is 49, so even if he hadn't had doping problems, it would still probably be past his time. From what I heard, he has a cycling podcast. Sock Wizard, you sound like maybe bike riding is something you enjoy and do? Or you just really into the racing? I wish I could find in my record somewhere, the first year I sort of knew about this. I was working, of course, so I wasn't making it a big deal, but it had to coincide with whenever they started broadcasting it on one of the sports channels. We've had Dish for quite a while, but I wouldn't have really paid any attention to it if I hadn't been able to watch it. So it would have been maybe 5, 6 years ago. Not sure. Suckwizard says, my partner likes riding bikes and got me into watching races. I don't ride much myself, though. Okay. That doesn't work for me. Hubby loves basketball, it's college basketball, and I'm just like, I can't. All the sports I watch and like, why? I don't know why. College basketball drives me crazy. And of course, pro. He doesn't watch pro, and so therefore I don't watch it either. But it's the last 10 minutes, 15 minutes the last 2 minutes of the game can take 15, 20 minutes. It's just like, get it over with already. Dribble, foul, dribble, foul, dribble, foul. It's like, just take the loss and go home. Now, I have to say there are very many that are really close, and I understand that tactics, but you might win, but don't quote me. But hubby knows how I feel. That's why I started doing Sock Madness. Okay. I don't hear music. Do you guys hear music? What happened? It's not playing. Huh. It's just not playing. Do you think that was a muted one? I didn't think you could hear that on that it would actually get muted. And that's pretzel. I'm so frustrated with that and muting, and I don't know. It's enough to make me just turn the music off. But I don't. Some days I'm real talkative, and some days I'm not. It's nice to have it there when I'm not. Boy, it's faint. Oh, I have interesting news. There is a phone app called Meetup, and I haven't used it for a long, long time. Obviously, nothing's been going on, but something popped up yesterday on it where somebody is having a come to the coffee shop and knit. It's quite a ways from me, and that's okay since I'm retired and all that, and it runs for quite a few hours in the evening. You can just pop in whenever, stay whatever. So I think I'm going to go check it out. But what I'm mostly interested in is the person who is doing it has a bio. She put a bio at the bottom of it, and it said new owner of a yarn crossing, which is a yarn store that used to be in Louisville that closed maybe 4 years ago. So I don't know anything about it. I don't know if the store's back open. I don't know. They may have limited hours, right? But I'm going to go check it out. It is next Wednesday, after the holiday. And normally I stream Wednesday nights. So I'm not going to stream. I'll stream a different time. Let me put it that way. Because I really want to go get the skinny on all this, right? See if we really have a yarn store coming back to Louisville, because that would be really awesome. There is nothing other than going to Michael's, Hobby Lobby, and all that for a size town. It seems really weird, but the truth is that they have trouble making it. Another one was in business for quite a while and then finally folded. People just unfortunately still have the instinct to go for the cheapest yarn, which is what's happening. But I hope it's true and they're going to open it up. I can't go. They're far from me. I wouldn't go regularly, but I definitely would try and go as much as I could. You had to get up and do something, but you're going to a knitting meetup? Yes. That's next Wednesday evening, and I normally stream Wednesday evening, so I'll be streaming a different time, which is fine. But mostly because the bio of the person who supposedly is hosting it, it's not at a yarn store, it's at a coffee shop, and it's in a totally different area. But she supposedly is the new owner of a yarn store that has been closed for, I think, 4 years. And that makes me want to find out if it's open yet, or if she's opening, or I want to find out about that. I'm real excited because we don't have that in Louisville, which is amazing because it's a it's a big city, but they can't make it. They just can't make it. That's what I'm really hoping. The one thing I have run into, even though, I try to support them, uh, there's not the stock for a large project of yarn. Okay, so they want you to order that, right? They don't want to tie their money up in that, and I can, as a business plan, I can understand that, but it doesn't have that immediate gratification of walking home with a great big bag of yarn, right? And so that is my only complaint about the local yarn stores that I seem to go to anywhere, really, not just around here. Um, so I end up buying magazines. If they have fiber, I almost always buy something to spin. I'll buy, you know, two skeins of something to make hats and scarves or gloves or whatever. Or maybe if it's a new fiber that I've never tried, a skein or two to try the fiber, the yarn. Sock Wizard, do you have a close yarn store near you? I mean, I'm sure there is in New York, but where would you go if you wanted to buy yarn? Wow. There are several in Brooklyn, none within walking distance. You would probably either to String Things Studio, that's a cool name, or travel into Manhattan and go to Stitch City. Usually I'll only go to a yarn store shop if I'm already in the area for some reason. Yeah, I have done that. I even went one time. Were traveling, and I found the local yarn store, and they went and saw her when she was open, and then she says, "Well, we have a knit night tonight. What you doing?" I said, "Well, I will come join you." Sat there with complete strangers, but felt right at home. It was really nice. Nitty City? Not Stitch City. Stitch City is a Discord thing. Oh, Nitty City is the name of the. Oh, yeah, Nitty City is the name of the yarn store. Okay. My biggest problem, if it does open back up, is finding a way to go without my husband. He has a valid point. I don't need yarn, but when has that ever stopped any of us from buying yarn? The partner is just like, "Why are you buying more?" I know. It would be better if he had some kind of hobby, and, you know, he might have a little more understanding, but he doesn't. Okay, I don't know what Park Slope is. Sock Wizard says, I'm not in Park Slope, so I rarely go to String Things Studio. Nitty City is further, but it's right by where my partner works and where I used to work, so I can go there and meet her for lunch and then stop by the store. Perfect. Yeah, that sounds real nice. I sent the information about the meetup to my daughter. It would be really nice if she could find some time and go. She and I could go together. Park Slope is the Brooklyn neighborhood where String Things Studio is located. Thank you. Have you ever been on what they call a yarn crawl? I actually have done that. I did it in Seattle, Washington. No. Seattle. Yeah, Washington, isn't it? I did it in Seattle. Years and years and years ago. I think it was 2008. It was fun, though. Oh, I did it in Alaska, too. Sorta. We were on a cruise. I went on, in fact, the very, very first cruise we went on, I talked hubby into going because actually it was called Sea Socks. And they had teachers and classes that you could go to on the days that you were at sea. Now, it was a typical cruise and it was Alaska, so it was a typical cruise. We were going up in through Alaska and the stopping at the different towns. But in Seattle, they actually had a yarn crawl for the people sailing. And I did do that. I'd forgotten about that. I just remember shopping there. The reason I remember shopping there, remember all that, is that was the one place I bought a ball of Kiviot yarn. I have yet to knit it. I still have it. I paid an enormous amount of money for a tiny ball of yarn, and I have every intention of knitting with it. I don't know why. I just haven't done it yet. I know that I will never buy another one, and I know that I will never spin that quantity of it. So it's a one-shot thing. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I should knit with it on stream, right? To immortalize it. You hear about them sometimes. Stash Dash is the perfect time to knit it. No. I'm getting rid of the junk. I'm getting rid of that yarn I'm tired of looking at. I'm not tired of looking at it yet. Like, the first thing I'm doing is the scrubby yarn, right? Making scrubbies. Let's get that out of. Well, in defense of that, it is Christmas colors, and it's a really nice thing to have for a little Christmas gift, along with other stuff. So it is Christmas knitting. Oh, good. That's good. Needed that drink of water. I'm a little confused on Stash Dash. I, I, I can't count. To me, a stash down is, if I use fiber up. I really can't count the fiber. I'm just going to count the yarn that I make with it, right? Like the two skeins that I just did. Clune Forest and the two skeins I just did for the CVM. I'm keeping track of what I'm getting out of my fiber stash. I have done that a couple years now. because I am really trying to get it down some. Gosh, so many little lumps here. Taking me longer to spin this than the other. I think I'm slowing down a little bit. Going up the challenge mountain here. Getting thick and thin. Not real happy with that. You know, I'm just going to answer my own question. So, I'm thinking about Stash Dash. Let's say I have a pound of fiber. And I spin it into yarn, but I put my yarn in the stash. So, really, what I'm keeping track of is that pound of fiber. That's how it works. And if I knit with it, then I keep track of the yarn. So, yes, I do keep track of the fiber weight that I get rid of for Stash Dash. And only the yarn if I happen to knit something with it. I just answered my own question. I think I had that figured out earlier when it started, but had that moment of, wait, what? How does that work? So how do you figure the weight in your goal if everything is measured in meters? Yeah, that's right. How do I? Huh. See that you should not really put that yarn as a stash dash thing because you're not using it. I guess none of this counts for stash dash. Maybe I'll ask him. Maybe I'll post something on their Discord and ask. It definitely counts. Hi, thank you for the follow. And I am just gonna stretch. You Lex Mix Games, you just hit me right at the right time because I'm at a stopping point here. So thank you for redeeming that. Welcome. This is going to be the second bat that I do. Today. But first a stretch. Well, hi, Shaki. You heard us talking about it. Can you estimate yardage? Well, yeah, I know how much yardage I spin, but I'm not using that. I'm putting that in my stash. I'm not knitting with it right away. Based on how much you use for a project, then apply that to the weight? That's because it's not done yet. It's not like I have 2 knitting projects going. And if I complete them, even if I had started them another time, the entire amount of yardage that's in that project counts in Stash Dash. So I have those 2 knitting projects going. But I was thinking that if I spin fiber out of my stash, that should count somehow, but I don't know how. Hi, okay. Lexmix says, hey, yarn spinners, and thank you for showing us how yarn was made in the past. That's exactly what I'm doing, except I'm making it right now for me to use. And Sock Wizard says, you're still working down your stash by processing the fiber into something that you can ultimately knit or crochet or weave. I guess that is what they're saying. It doesn't actually have to consume the yarn. It can either, it's sort of like the Shave 'em to Save 'em passport thing where they say take it to the next level. So if you have fiber, spin it to yarn. If you have yarn, knit it. If you have, I think that's probably the way they're doing it. Yeah. And yes, I have, when I spin this, here, I'll show this. Let me go to my other camera. This is a skein yarn that I completed over the last couple days. It's the same type of wool that I'm spinning here, but it's a lighter color. And there is approximately 102 yards in here, but it's made of 2-ply. So there's 102 yards twice. I had to spin 102 yards and the other 102 yards, and then I had to ply and put those 102 yards together into a 2-ply. So basically, when I make a yarn like this, it goes through the spinning wheel 3 times. And most of the times when you're doing some kind of stash dash where they're looking to say, they allow you to count it that way because that was the process to get this yarn. So this weighs, I don't know, let's see here. The total 2-ply yarn, let's get a weight. We're going to figure this out. Well, I don't have grams. Three. Well, I can do grams. This weighs 97 grams, this skein of yarn. So, like we were saying, they're keeping track of meters in their little group thing. There's no way to put grams into meters, right? But this 97 grams translates into a skein of yarn that is basically well, I've got it in yards. I got to figure it 3 times whatever meters it is. And then I would put that into the thing. I think that's the right way. I may have to ask on their Discord thing and see what they're doing, how they're doing it. Especially about the 3 times through. Lexmix, what nature fibers do you recommend for poncho or cardigan? It depends how you feel about wool. If you can wear wool next to your skin, there are wools soft enough to do that. That is what I'm doing this spin for. This here is from a sheep. I have blended it together on what they call a drum carder. And it's soft enough that I'm not going to mind it on my, arms. It's very, very soft. So there's wool that can do that, but there are wools that can't. And so you have to be careful when you're deciding what to use your yarn for as to whether people can tolerate next to the skin or not. And then there's always cotton. But it takes a lot longer to spin the cotton that you would need to knit a cardigan than it does wool. Wool is quicker, a lot quicker. Right, merino wool was only you could use because, but you have the 100% wool for socks. Okay, so you're familiar with what I'm talking about, yeah. Well, when I make sweaters, I almost always make them out of wool, unless I buy a commercial yarn. But for spinning it, I would make it out of wool. I moved around, but I didn't stretch. Let me redeem that stretch. My goodness, I forgot. Oh, that feels good. All right, let's get this bat spun. My goal, 2 of these bats a day. Oh, I've gotten to the unwieldy part of my center ply ball. Oh, wish you luck. I do. Must feel fantastic, I believe. As weaver, we could hear small pop. Oh, as viewer, you can hear a small pop. That is the sound of my wheel. Yes. I'm treadling. And so you're hearing that, and you're hearing the bobbin going around. Oh, you meant my back? Really? I didn't hear that. It did feel good though. That's interesting. That's a good mic, isn't it? Pick up the pop in my back. Yeah, but I'm not sitting right on my chair now. I gotta get that fixed. There we go. She says she heard the pop when I stretched. Maybe it was my chair, not my back. But it did feel very, very good. I am very used to spinning every day. I do this most days, every day, of a certain amount. So, you know, it's very good for people who are. It's very good for anybody doing consistent, repetitive action to do stretching and get up and walk and all that. And I'm aware of that. I'm aware what my body needs, but sometimes as new spinners, when new spinners are just learning, they forget. They get too involved in the learning process and they forget to do it. Yeah, most people say they can hear the spinning wheel. That's what they hear. Shaki asks, do you ever do spinning with a drop spindle? I would love to learn to do that properly. I do. It is very hard to show on a stream. Extremely hard. Because of the distance from the camera. You know, you can focus the camera and this right here doesn't move at all. But a drop spindle goes down there and then up and down there and up. And to be really honest with you, the best way to start, it uses this same kind of drafting technique anyway. You park your drop spindle between your knees and then you draft like I'm drafting here. So if you watch my hands as far as the drafting and all that, that part relates to a drop spindle. The difference is after you draft it up, then you give it a twist and let it spin and let that twist run all the way up to your fingers and start over. So, you know, it's so hard to show on a stream. I have never really tried. And yes, Sock Wizard says there's some good YouTube videos. Lex Mix says, yarn spinners just wonder how you feel for acrylic yarn. Have made garments out of it. Yes, absolutely. Especially for kids. Anything I want to throw in the washer, you know, anything that I know is going to need. Christmas stockings, a lot of times, I'll make out of it because it's inexpensive yarn. I use acrylic, absolutely. You have a hard time keeping it going. Okay, I do too. That means you will have a better, easier time keeping it going if your fiber is not is if your fiber is too heavy for your spindle, it will stop quicker. So if you use a lighter weight fiber, like if you have a spindle that is pretty lightweight, you have to be spinning a fiber that's pretty lightweight. Now, that doesn't mean you can't spin wool. It just means that you have to draft it really, really thin to the point so that you don't put a lot of weight on that drop spindle. Well, that's kind of hard for people who are learning, because when it's so thin, it just wants to break. And that's why I was talking about the park and draft. But you might need to change your fiber or change your spindle to something a little heavier for what you're spinning. And then it should go a little better. But not all spindles are made alike. And, to be really honest with you, I have spindles that I cannot keep spinning either. And it's just not technique at all. It's just plain the spindle. Yeah, right. That's exactly right. The thicker your yarn you want, or the heavier fiber, the bigger your drop spindle has to be. To a point. You don't want it unruly that it's going to tire you out using it all the time. You have to hit a happy medium. That's why so many people have multiple spindles. Once they start buying a spindle and then they decide that they want to spin a different fiber or something, then they realize they have to have another spindle. So pick a good medium one to start with and then go from there. Figure out what you want to spin the most of if you want another spindle. I have a drop spindle I absolutely love. It's called a trindle. And probably the Trindle Man, you probably maybe have run into that and heard about it. It's extremely lightweight, and I use it to spin silk blends, Angora. I have spun some buffalo on it. So, I love it because it's that lightweight. And it spins and spins and spins if you put the right fiber on it. Shucky says, yeah, I just have a generic something I found on Etsy. Lexmix says, great to hear. I love it for some garments. Oh, yes, the poncho now is goal to make like a captain coat. As a man, I heart for age 36, soon love all kinds of fiber arts. Oh, good. And Sock Wizard says, I have 4 spindles already. I've been spinning for 2 months. Oh, yeah, I'm not laughing at you. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at, it's so true. It's so true. Have you ever did you ever have something that if you're traveling, you always buy a little souvenir? Well, there are people who buy drop spindles that way as their travel souvenirs. So, it has all different kinds of reasons for owning these drop spindles. Hi, KB. How are you today? What's your word of wisdom you got here? I find it depends on how much twist you can get between the fiber and the spindle. I've been able to spin lace weight on a heavier spindle. Okay, that's just being really good, because you have to get that spindle moving fast enough to have the twist. So you just probably have a really good spindle. Is it a Bosworth? Oh man, I love their spindles. And Snyder spindles. And, they're just... Spindles are something you should really try out. Once you get knowledge and understand how they work, right? You really should try them out before you buy them. in my opinion. I can spin lace weight on a Bosworth Mini. You know, and this doesn't mean anything to anybody because I can't tell you how many grams it weighs or whatever. I know it's documented, but I just know it doesn't have a very big whirl at the bottom, you know, and it is top whirl. I tend to spin top whirl almost all the time. KB, have you ever tried streaming a drop spindle? I mean, I was just like, I just don't think I have the camera work to do that. I'll give you a shout out here. KB streams spinning, or also lots of other things craft wise. So check her out because she's on a lot. And normally I'm on about 3 times a week under normal. We are in an event where I am trying to spin every day, but KB is on frequently, so she's a good one to catch. Okay, well that's good. That's real good because evidently he's got his camera set up to the side. I think that's what I would have to do, is figure out how to put a camera to the side so that you would be seeing this angle down here and, you know, something like that. And the other thing is, I do drop spindle while I am seated. It I might be able to hold it higher if I was standing, and as you know, I say frequently, I'm not able to stand for any length of time. So the being seated is the way I drop spindle when I drop spindle at home. So, or actually, I drop spindle more when we're traveling. If we are doing something out and about and I feel like spinning instead of knitting. Thank you, Lex Mix. Good. He kind he had to kind of stand back a bit, but it wasn't bad. Okay. Yeah, see that it's probably just because he was standing. I probably could get it in the camera if I was standing up. What I should do is show my drop spindles that I have in a stream. That would be something I could do. I just made myself a note of that, or I'll forget. Yeah. Yeah, you could still see the drafting. That's true. I was Sock Wizard says I was thinking of streaming spinning with a drop spindle for turtle fleece, but there's always people around my house lately. Oh, yeah. That's the that it's nice because I have a dedicated room that it's an extra room, so I just pretty much have all my spinning stuff in here. The cat came in, Newman came in here yesterday and took one look at the bed. He wanted to get up, or I think, and snuggle in somewhere, and he just left in disgust. I have this so much on there for the turtle fleece right now. It's about half what it was, though. I'm making progress. Well, the other thing that I could do that actually would be visible in the camera is use different fibers. Um, you know, showing the effect of the weight of the spindle and stuff like that. What? Went thin. I'm going to look at the back of my wheel here and see if my bearing needs oil. I think it does. That's the footman that's connected to the treadles. It sounds clunky. It's in a clunk, clunk, clunk. Of course, I'm getting a little, probably getting a little fatigued too. Oh, much better. Okay. It's time to change a ratio here. I'm getting way over twisted. You know, I was talking earlier about. I had something wrong in my mind. I was talking earlier about that light gray that I spun on this and figuring out whether I'm going to have enough with 15 bats of the dark gray. So I didn't put 2 per bobbin, I put 4 per bobbin when I did that light gray. And those 2 skeins came out of the 8 bats. So I got close to 300 yards from 8 bats. And if my bats are pretty much the same size and I'm spinning the same on the same spinning wheel and I have 15 bats, I should get 1,200 yards. Approximately. I might get less than that. So, like I said, it's probably, I either have to, I'm not going to have enough for a big 1,500 yard sweater, but I am going to make an open cardigan, not a pullover, and I can make it 3/4 sleeves. I might get away with the 1,200, but I had figured that wrong because I had said I had 2 bats per. And looking at this, I'm putting my second bat on here. I know I didn't. I did 4 bats because I had a total of 8 bats, and that worked out nice. $15 doesn't divide into by 2 very well. I'm going to have to do a half a bat on one of them. Sorry, just thinking out loud here, but that's kind of what you have to do when you're spinning specifically, instead of just spinning for the heck of it and letting the yarn be whatever it wants to be. It'll be interesting to see if my, in theory, I should get around 1,200 yards is right. Got hair hanging in my face. You finished playing? Yay! So your playing ball, your yarn pole worked. Awesome. So you're still waiting for your nitty notty. Don't worry about it. Put it on the back of 2 chairs or something. Did you do the fish tank thing? I don't know. I saw somebody use a fish tank. Anyway, make your skein. Worry about your yardage later. Stash Dash goes till the end of August, right? You've been doing chairs, yeah. Oh, I have readers. Hello. Tentel, welcome. Did you get your spinning done or are you taking a break? Oh, that's fine. Oh, it might have just been me. It might have just been me. I asked if you got, thank you for the raid, first of all, and I asked if you got your spinning done for the day. In time for supper. Oh, okay. Raid. I need to make raid emoticons. I don't have any kind of emoticons right now. Not been a high priority for me. But lexical scoped. I thought you followed me already, but thank you very much for the follow. I am spinning a wool called California Variegated Mutant. I am doing this for my sweater spin for the Turtle Fleece and Team Twitch. And I have already spun a light color. And now I'm on a darker color, but it's a natural color wool. Oh, okay. Oh, Twitch unfollows folks sometimes? Oh, that's not good. Yeah, so you lob chicken emotes and yell raid and that'll do. It works, yes. Sock Wizard tried. No, I don't have it set up. I don't have it set up for anybody to do that because of bot stuff. So we'll get you. You guys can just remind me. That's so funny. Oh, it worked. Actually, it worked, didn't it? Okay. Well, good. I didn't realize it would do that. Who were you trying to... It worked. It did work, Sock Wizard. Lexical Scope says, I just wander aimlessly through the fluff to try and find veggie. Yeah. That's where I know your name from, Snoring Cat, too. Okay. Yeah. It's because you're a wizard. You're right. I don't know how that worked, but that's cool. Your eyes just glazed over the message and it seemed to be something else. Well, that's interesting. I'm glad it works. You have magical powers. I have seen where it didn't work. It will give your own name when you do it. You know, you can shout out yourself. I've seen that happen. Anyway, Tantel, welcome. Check out Tantel's um, stream. She's been streaming every day this week. I don't know how long that'll last because, like the rest of the world, she's got to go back to work. So, and she has a lovely voice. So, definitely check her out. And I'm so glad you came by. Thanks for the raid. Maybe a little some in the evenings. Yeah. Tentel says, thanks. Yes, I'm fortunate to be British, and some folks like the accent. Hello, all crafty. Yes, it's definitely the accent. And a nice, soft spoken voice. I have enjoyed your streams because you occasionally talk about, where you live and what is in the north and south. Um, in particular, we were talking the other day about something I remember. But what I really enjoy is, okay, over the years, I have done tons and tons of breed reviews of wool. And, you know, I have learned a lot about your south area because so many of the sheep come from there, and the down breeds and that sort of thing, and the fact that the down is your area, not the type of fiber that the animal has, just things like that that I have picked up over the years as I've been reviewing the different breeds for podcast. And of course, I talk about it a little bit here on the stream now, but it was mostly over the years that I was doing the podcast. So I had to go get the Fleece and Fiber book is a really, really good reference for the different breeds of sheep. And had to go get that book out of my library. And in the back is a really wonderful lexicon of maps of where different breeds of sheep come from across the world. And of course, Britain's on there. And that is why when you're talking about it, I visualize that map now in my mind, and I think about it that way. Okay, Sock Wizard says, gotta be right back, eat some breakfast, cool down, hang out with partner. That's great. Thank you so much for hanging around, and we'll catch you later. All Crafty, what are you up to today? Tentel says, enjoy your breakfast, and thank you. I don't think about the voice. I know I don't either. I just ramble over everything. Tentel says, oh yes, I'm hoping to spin some of the down sheep as I was born and lived a long time in Sussex, where the South Downs are. She says, right now I'm trying to get a hold of some Norfolk horn. I have spun that, yeah, as they are now my local breed, but unfortunately had to be bred back into existence. Yes, they are rare breed. That and Suffolk sheep might be nice to try. Yeah, I mean, we have American breeds that are very similar to the British breeds because they came over here from there, but the American breeds also drew from France, and they, obviously it was not an indigenous animal it had to all be brought into the United States. So they all have backgrounds from other areas. They're very American now, but like Black Welsh Mountain, you know, they're being grown here. They're being raised here in the. I say grown. That's funny. They're being raised here in the United States, but of course, we're a Welsh breed. As just one example. Come on, get thicker. This keeps going thinner than I'm going to end up with 12 wraps per inch. My light gray that I did first ended up a perfect 11 wraps per inch. I found out that the wraps per inch for the different, like Aran weight and DK and all that, is pretty broad range, and Aran's 9 to 12. So even if I go a little thinner, one of the nice things about knitting with hand spun, it seems to be squishier than commercial yarn. You seem to be able, it's more forgiving as far as getting gauge and stuff like that. It kind of either squishes in or puffs out depending on how tight you knit it. So if you get it a needle that knits it so that it's just not really strangled to death, it usually will expand into the pretty close to whatever gauge. That's just a personal experience. It might be how I knit, but I do know there is a difference knitting with hand spun than there is with commercial yarn. Tantel says, I got the book before Turtle Fleece and read about Ryland I am spinning about now in it. Tantel says, well, yes, I have heard the Rambouillet are somewhat like Merino. Yes, they were genetically bred from Merinos with something else. So, yes, they have Merino in them. All Crafty says, I'm spinning some Merino on my Nano. Yes, I bet that is lovely. Finally got the nano to work right. Well, I'm glad about that because I've been spinning silk on it. It's amazing to spin so easily and have it spin so nice, really super thin. And your merino is probably doing the same thing. Tantel says, well, I imagine all breeds are very different to what they used to be, but at least there are so many fun varieties to try, all good for different projects. That's exactly right. And hooray for the working nano. All Crafty says, I've been ready to throw it out the door several times. Oh, that I am sorry to hear about that because, yeah, I'm so glad you got that to work. It is. It's very worth it once it's working good. Good morning, Jane Wayne. Welcome. Tantel says, sounds like me with my spinning last night. Better today, though. Oh, that's good. See, it's just about time to have that break day. I really do. I don't care what kind of push you're putting on yourself to meet your goals. I really do recommend you take a break from the spinning for that Monday. That'll be this coming Monday. And not for any reason because, everything else has been ignored. We're going to ignore everything else anyway because we're spinning, but it's really good for your body. Especially if you're treadling or, sitting in one position quite a bit. Tantel especially, you have really put the hours behind your wheel. But that's okay because you're going back to work Monday. That'll start using other muscles. KB said good morning to Jane Wayne. Jane Wayne says, all Crafty, I felt the same way about the Nano. Don't give up. It takes a while And when you figure it out, it's amazing. It's true. I was kind of fortunate that when I bought mine at a fiber fair, the vendor was willing, she wasn't busy, and she was willing to set it up and make me spin on it so that I could get the feel for it, she could give me advice, and she also was making sure that everything worked right, the motor was working and everything was functional. And I know a lot of people will just get theirs through, mail order, and you're alone, right? You're trying to figure this out, or maybe asking people and they're trying to help you. I was very, very lucky. I walked home and sat it up and was spinning very easily. Jane Wayne says, for me, the tension needed to be much tighter than I thought. All Crafty says, my 6.0 is perfect, so hopefully I can enjoy it now that it has been fixed. Jane Wayne, there is a huge difference in that nano with the Scotch tension. Most of us are not familiar spinning. Our fingers are not familiar with spinning Scotch tension, and that I think that's why a lot of people expect more pull in, and eventually you might learn that you can back it off as you get more and more used to what it feels like to have to feed that yarn onto the bobbin as opposed to the bobbin pulling it away from you. There's a difference. That's what you're experiencing when you're got a Scotch tension. And it's a different feel. Tentail said, yeah, I think I factored in the days off and a couple of others and can still meet the goal. That's why I'm doing it so hard this week. So I can lay back and do a bobbin a day and ply every fourth or whatever and still be confident to reach your goal. May even have a day or two to play with the spindle. Hi, Crafty Mom. Hello. Welcome. And Tantal says, with the pre-wash guesstimation, I'm over 6 meters now. So tomorrow and Sunday ply should put me at 800. That is so awesome. I mean, you are just cranking it out. So should only need a couple more for the rest of the Turtle Fleece. You are absolutely right. It's just, you're more than half of your goal. That's really good. So it was worth the push. Just take care of yourself now and enjoy your yarn. Oh, what fun. Got a nice big bag of it already. Gonna need a bigger bag before you're done. Well, more importantly, how much is left in that big bag of fluff that you were spinning? What's left? Crafty Mom says, I was lucky to get advice about using my nano from Rogue Knitter. She's the one that told me it needed more tension than you think. Yeah. That probably is that, and, you know, the little setup for the feed clips. I mean, they're so lightweight, and they can snag, and sometimes people don't realize that they're trying to spin with it snagged on something. And there's just things that can go wrong because of its conformation, the way it's made. Tantel says, as far as I can tell, on my underside scale, probably about half. Oh, I thought, okay. Well, yeah, it's a little hard for you to weigh it as a bunch, isn't it? I have that same problem. I only have a little kitchen scale too, and it's pretty hard to figure out weight sometimes. When I went to the alpaca farm and I bought those 3 alpacas blankets, I had to weigh them out in handfuls on my scale because I had no idea how much it was. They just sheared it off the alpaca. Nobody weighed anything. So I wanted to wait. I ended up with 7 pounds of alpaca between the 3 colors. Crafty Mom said, it could have something to do with the elastic material the tension band is made from, too. Yeah, yeah. Tantel said, oh, I had trouble the other day because I forgot which side I wanted to ply on. Had it rigged up on the left and it wouldn't take it. Yeah. £2, 3 ounces, says the conversion. For what's left or for the kilogram? I'm used to pounds and ounces. I've been working on putting things in metric for the Stash Dash, but it's not in my head, right? It's not like I can just automatically do it. That's okay, that's 1 kilogram. Yeah. That's a lot of fluff. And I love the color. The natural color. I don't know what the Ryland lock is not like it, but we have a sheep breed here in the United States that is pretty common in my area. It's called Border Leicester, and the color reminds me of what we can get. I can get Border Leicester in. I can get it in white too, but that it can have that gray brown color. Yes, CVM stands for California Variegated Mutant. It's a true American breed that started out. The Ramondale is the genetic base. The Ramondale is always solid color and often brown, but the CVM will have different colors. I showed this earlier, but I don't mind showing it again. Hopefully nobody minds that I show it again, because it's kind of interesting. This here that I'm spinning was actually like this on the sheep. You can see the white was part of the coat, and this real light gray here, and then there's occasionally some very dark brown. So those 3 colors will show up on one coat, and when you blend them together, you do get a real variegated gray. The gray is pretty dominant. There's probably the most of that. There is a little bit of sun bleaching to the tips, so that lightens the gray up too. So yeah, it's pretty cool. They're not spotted like Jacob. Jacob are more spotted. They're kind of like big patches of this gray, and then maybe the white will be in different areas, but they're not really spotted. It's just big expanses of the gray with this other color in various areas, like maybe on their neck or maybe back around their tail or that sort of thing. So yeah, it's an American breed. The Ramondale was the base genetics, but when they started getting the mutation of the color coming out, and who knows, I don't know why or when, but they then named it as a legitimate breed, and it's a relatively new breed. Not, I mean, as far as sheep go, because it had the colors. What did I miss here? Okay, I got Crafty Moms and about the Pline. I didn't miss that too much. Um, Tantel, you say you use imperial to weigh yourself, but everything else is in metric. And we go to the doctor's office, and they now weigh in metric. And you know, it's so different. And of course, hubby doesn't like any changes at all, and he's like, "Well, what is that in pounds?" He gets like, "Don't make me change." It's all crafty. You're just learning to spin. That's cool. You can see my on my slacks. This is okay. So this is a home processed fleece. I bought the fleece raw and washed it, picked it all apart, and drum carded it. But you can see that because you buy it raw like that and home process it, I don't have any way to really get a lot of that, what they call vegetable matter, out. It's a little flakes of not only hay and stuff, but there's dust and stuff like that in there. I like the fact that it falls out. A lot falls out when you drum card it to begin with, but not everything. And the rest kind of falls out. It is more a symptom of being drum carded than combed. You can get more of this out if you comb the fiber, but that is not how I wanted to spin it. I wanted it to spin woolen so that it's a fluffier yarn for a sweater. And the way I'm drafting is close to a long draw. The difference is where the twist ends up. If you really can't see it, but when I pinch here, the twist is running all the way down here. I'm letting the twist run all the way down to the fiber supply. That's what is woolen. So the twist is running all the way down here to where, and then I pull it out and there's more twist that runs in there. That's a woolen spinning. And it's confusing because we talk about a woolen yarn. But when you're talking about spinning, you're talking about a certain technique, not a certain yarn. This is what a bat looks like when it comes off my drum carder, and I roll it up. So it's a nice big bat, and there are 2 bats spun on there today. So this is going to be the last bit I do. I've been on for 2.5 hours, or I will by the time I get this done. let you guys go find somebody else. Hopefully is streaming. I'll check for a raid. Maybe Cotton Spun's on. I don't know. Or KB? Did KB go? Maybe KB's on now. I rated her yesterday. Cotton Spun is on? Okay. Oh, KB, you're there. I'll go raid Cotton Spun. We'll keep the raid train going. I wonder if they're going to have a raid train this weekend. May not because of the holiday. You may wait and do it next week. You're trying to catch up on your housekeeping. That's what I'm going to do as soon as I get done here. Which is why I'm in no hurry. But yes, it is time to do some chores this afternoon. And you spun a whole bunch yesterday. You need a break too. I'm in love with that color that is on that fiber that you're getting, that you got, the bumblebee or whatever that is. Sassy bee. What is that? Sassy bee. That's not it. That was one of the dyers I bought from. Anyway, I like it. I'm going to look for it. Even if I have to look at my mom's in Florida. If and when I get down there. She's got Hobby Lobby too. Yarn bee, thank you. I knew it had bee in it. Fiber comes before housekeeping in the dictionary. That's a good one. You are right. Yep. Winter's coming. This is more important. Oh, you're in the Panhandle? My mother lives in the center of the state around Sebring. Avon Park specifically, but I'm up in Kentucky, so I only go see her as we can, periodically. So, being in a warmer part and in the south, are you learning to spin cotton and stuff instead of wool, or are you going to go ahead and spin wool? The person we're going to raid is a really good cotton spinner. She may be weaving, but that's why her name says Cotton Spun, because she is really good cotton spinner. So hang in there with us and go to the raid and watch her a little bit. Wool right now, yeah, it's the easiest to get. But like what she's talking about, what KB's spinning is acrylic fiber that they Hobby Lobby thinks that you're going to knit with it, that it's yarn, but you can spin it. It looks just like roving. That might be a good cool weather fiber. on. I think the wheel's getting tired too. There we go. Wool is definitely the easiest to learn your drafting and everything with, because it wants to stick to itself anyway, more so than some fibers. Well, hopefully I'm ending up... Oh, there's another chunk. Yeah, I'm a tad thin. But it should work out all right. All right. I am going to call that. I will have to weigh this bobbin to post for what I spun today for Team Twitch. I will do that later. Oh my. Gonna need the dust buster. You guys ready to raid? Let me double check. I'm gonna turn off my music here. Double check Twitch real quick. And there she is. All right. I need to follow her. I thought I had followed her. I think I did. Okay. So she is streaming. Thank you for everybody, for staying with me today and chatting. It's been great talking to everybody. You have a great weekend. I will be back tomorrow. I don't know exactly what time. Sunday, I do stream at 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is my normal Sunday for a couple hours. So, Lexica, thank you, Lexical. Thank you, All Crafty, Tantel, everybody. We will see you later, and until then, happy spinning. Let's go raid Cotton Spun. right. We're taking her 11 viewers. That is awesome. See you later.